In other news, can former middleweight contender Andre Bishop make a comeback after spending more than 5 years in prison? And can he do it as a heavyweight? It's one of the more fascinating stories in sports. We'll, of course, have the latest for you.
Today, we're going to be talking about Fight Night Champion. This is a game where every fight has a meaning behind every single punch that you throw. You play as Andre Bishop, the roller coaster career fighting your way to the top. It's a darker and more grittier game compared to many of the Fight Night series. Every single punch that you throw feels real. Every hit that connects feels real. Even the cuts and the bruises that you get within the game is just amazing. You play as Andre Bishop, and the character development in this game is great. From the Olympics to being a pro and then being betrayed and having a journey basically all the way until you reach the top. And that alone is a great storyline, and it reminds me of a couple of movies, mainly the Undisputed series.
American boxer George Chambers is being transferred to a maximum security jail to await charges. Convicted of a controversial assault charge 6 years ago, the former heavyweight champion of the world was also cautioned.
But one of the issues that I did have with the game was the game length. It was way too short. I wanted more fights. As for the game controls, I didn't feel like they were too complicated. It allows you to understand the basic controls, and if you want to get a little bit more advanced, they were easier to adapt in your gameplay. The game difficulty is kind of hard to say because there was a basic difficulty that you can use, but it ranged more of your skill and some of your weaknesses within the game. So there's not really much to say about the game difficulty itself. The in-game dialogue it's hard to kind of rate because when you were in-game and you had Teddy Atlas talking, it was great. There wasn't enough meat and potatoes unless you were in the cutscene. But every single cutscene that was presented in the game was well done, and I really felt immersed in those moments. The mission and the objectives, they're very unique to the storyline. There were some fights that you had to do a specific objective on in order to win the fight. Like, you couldn't just knock the person out right away. And I think that made the game more dynamic and a little bit strategic to win. And I kind of wish that there was more fights again with those types of objectives within the game. I usually don't like replaying a lot of video games, so by me saying this game is definitely replayable, and I enjoyed many moments of this game. The soundtrack to this game wasn't really standout-ish as well. They could have added some bigger hits, but, you know, it still kind of went with the vibe. I didn't really get into the training. I didn't really care about it, to be honest. It was kind of bland. So overall, this is a great game. Great storyline. You cannot dislike the storyline because it's your basic grind to the top story with a lot of plot twists within the main story itself. So it was really well done. So the Fight Night Champion storyline was a great game to play. I enjoyed it. It did have some flaws in it. The length of the game really did bug me. So I am going to rate Fight Night Champion 4 out of 5 stars.